All right, let's talk about something we all feel, something that can hold us back, but also something we can get a handle on. Let's talk about fear. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if it isn't a weakness, but just a signal? A signal you can learn to read, to manage, and yeah, even use to your advantage. So let's dive in. I want to start with this question from Spencer Johnson, and I really want you to think about it for a second. What would you do if you weren't afraid? I mean, seriously, what big move would you make? What trips would you take? Who would you talk to? That's what this explainer is all about, giving you the tools to actually answer that question.
So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to get clear on what fear actually is. Then we'll look at the sneaky trap that keeps it going, the vicious cycle of avoidance. After that, the good stuff, your toolkit for taking back control. Then we'll shift our mindset about what fear and success even mean. And we'll wrap up by talking about what it means to live a life that's not just long, but wide.
Okay, first things first. What is fear really? Because before you can take control of something, you gotta know what you're up against. The best way to think about it? It's your body's built-in alarm system. And understanding how that alarm works is the first step to knowing how to turn it off. Now, you might hear fear and anxiety thrown around like they're the same thing, but they're not. And this is a really important difference. Fear is specific. It's right now. It's that car swerving into your lane. It's an alarm bell for a danger that is present and observable. Anxiety? That's different. It's more like a low hum of dread about the future. It's the what-ifs, often without a specific immediate trigger. So when that fear alarm goes off, your body goes into overdrive. You feel your heart pounding, you start sweating, maybe you get shaky. Sound familiar? Well, you're not broken. That's your body doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's prepping you for fight or flight, getting you ready to survive. Yeah, it feels awful, but it's a completely normal biological response. And of course, fear isn't just in the body. It totally messes with your head. It can hijack your thoughts, right? Suddenly you're laser focused on the threat, and it feels like everything is spinning out of control. It can mess with your sleep, and it creates this massive, overwhelming urge to just get away, to avoid the thing you're scared of. And that urge to avoid, that brings us to the real problem. See, the initial jolt of fear isn't the issue. It's how we react to it. Our instinct to run away, to avoid what we're scared of, actually creates a trap, a self-perpetuating cycle that, ironically, keeps the fear alive and in charge. To see how this works, let's look at a story based on a woman named Shay. She had this lifelong terror of dogs. But it wasn't just, a simple preference. It was actively shrinking her world. She couldn't even take her kid to a play date. Her story is a perfect example of how any fear, when we let it, starts making our decisions for us. This is what we're talking about, the vicious cycle. It all starts with a trigger out in the world. That trigger leads to a fearful thought. That thought creates all those physical feelings of panic. And that feeling leads to a behavior. Almost always, it's avoidance, running away. And here's the kicker. That moment of relief you feel when you run, that feels like a win. But it's actually the very thing that teaches your brain to be more afraid next time. Let's walk through it with Shay's story. So the trigger? She sees a dog at the park. Immediately, the thought hits. Oh no, a dog, we have to leave, it's not safe. Then comes the feeling. Her heart starts racing, she's terrified. So what's the behavior? Avoidance. She grabs her son and hurries home. And right here, this is the trap. In that moment, she feels this wave of relief. But what did her brain just learn? It didn't learn that the dog was fine. It learned that leaving is what keeps you safe. And that just makes the fear more powerful for the next time. Okay, so we've seen the cycle. We understand the trap. Now for the best part. How do we break it? You are not stuck here. This next part is your toolkit. 3 simple, practical strategies to help you take back the controls. Tool number 1 is for your mind. It's a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's all about learning to be a detective of your own thoughts. So instead of just blindly accepting a fearful thought like, that dog is going to bite me, you stop and you challenge it. You ask, okay, what's the actual evidence here? Is it on a leash? Does it look friendly? What's a more realistic possibility? When you change that automatic thought,
You interrupt the whole cycle before it even gets going.
Tool number 2 is for your body. And this one is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The next time you feel that panic starting to rise, you can literally hit the brakes. All you do is take a slow, deep breath in and then make your exhale even slower. That long exhale sends a signal to your brain that says, hey, we're safe. It flips on the body's natural relaxation response. It's like a physiological off switch for fear. And tool number 3, this is the real game changer. It's about action. It's called building a fear ladder. You basically make a list of all the things that scare you about a topic and you rank them from like a 1 to 100. Then you start with the easiest thing on the list. For Shay, maybe it's just looking at a photo of a dog. Now here's the most important part. You don't run. You stay with that uncomfortable feeling until it starts to fade on its own. This is how you retrain your brain. You're proving to it through experience that you're okay. Once you master that step, you move up to the next rung on the ladder. So now you have the tools. But for these changes to really stick, we also need to work on our perspective. It's time to kind of rewire how we think about the whole idea of fear and even success itself. You know, so many of our fears really come down to one thing, a fear of failing. But what if we're thinking about failure all wrong? I love this quote from Winston Churchill. He said, "Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm." Think about that. The real win isn't avoiding mistakes, it's being able to get back up and keep going. This also makes you wonder what we're all chasing, right? Einstein had some pretty good advice on this. He said, try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. When you shift your goal from getting applause to making a contribution, a lot of that pressure and fear just melts away. And what about that other big fear? The fear of what other people will think. The criticism, the haters. Well, David Brinkley had this amazing way of looking at it. He said, a successful person is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him. Every nasty comment, every setback, it's not something that tears you down, it's building material. Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to a choice. Les Brown put it perfectly. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. That right there, that's the real cost of letting fear drive. It's the life you don't live, the dream you don't chase.
So what's this all for? What's the point of doing all this hard work? Well, it's about way more than just feeling less scared. It's about the entire quality of your life. It's about choosing to live for width, not just for length. I just love this quote from Diane Ackerman. Think about it. Living the length of your life? Well, that's just getting from birth to death. That's just surviving. But living the width of it, that's the good stuff. That's the richness, the experiences, the connections, the growth. And every single time you choose to face a fear instead of running from it, you are literally adding width to your life. So, we're going to end by turning it back to you. You've seen the anatomy of fear. You have the toolkit. You have a new way to look at it. So thinking back to that idea of building with the bricks thrown at you. What's the first brick you're going to lay for your new foundation? What's your first step, no matter how small?